Hello, this is Learning Differences. I'm Jeremy Beaches, Psychology 331 with Professor Anderson. It's 2 March 2015. I was born in 1979, Goshen, Indiana, to Becky and Donald Beachy. However, my parents divorced when I was 11 months old, so I have no memory of them being married. My first memory was the age of 3, living in Three Oaks Trailer Court. My mother was telling my stepdad that she wanted to move, essentially because the trailer was falling apart. When I was 4, my mom got me a police set, and I decided from that point on I really wanted to be a police officer. But shortly after, I learned of different people on my mom's side of the family that were in the military, and I decided that I really wanted to join the military and then go into law enforcement. Behaviorists might argue that these interests were a reaction to stimuli in my environment. Cognitivists might argue that whilst there were the stimuli in my environment that influenced my desire to join the military and become a police officer, a separate process was taking place in the conscious and unconscious mind to help persuade that decision. I married my high school sweetheart at the age of 19, and had our first child at the age of 20. As a result, I had to work a lot of overtime in the factory to support my family, so I didn't have any time for college. In 2003, at the age of 24, I decided I wanted to join the Air Force Reserve for 3 reasons, being money for school so that I could get away from the factory, the 9/11 terror attacks, and because I had this long desire to join the military. Dollar Miller would describe this as drive, cue, response, and reinforcement. As an example, the drive was the money for college, the cue was joining the military would provide that money for college, the response was actually joining the Air Force, and the response, or the reinforcement, was the money for college. I went to school at one point after that. I took some general education classes. I majored in information technology, but after a few information technology classes, I really knew that that's not what I wanted to do. So I took a short break from school, thought about it, decided I was really interested in the mind and the brain, and so I wanted to major in psychology. So I got back into school, and here I am, scheduled to graduate in October 2015. My passions and hobbies include traveling, camping and fishing trips, having a vegetable garden, playing first-person shooter video games, watching NASCAR. Favorite driver is Casey Kane. I have a passion for martial arts. I took Aikido Jiu-Jitsu. The kids and I took Shorin-ryu karate, and we had to get out for various reasons, but and we haven't been able to get back in because of different time constraints. I have a pretty busy routine. Doesn't allow much personal time to relax. Most of my day is spent trying to meet obligations and spending any free time that I can with my children. I do enjoy my PT. It allows me to work off some stress and puts me in a better mood. According to my EQ score, I do well under pressure, but I need to take time out for myself every once in a while. My frustrations really stem from very little, but the biggest is financial. Whilst it's not really logical because I do okay financially, I grew up in a poor family and I spent a portion of my adult life struggling financially. So there's really that fear of returning to the poor financial situation. Other frustrations would be lack of time. I always feel like I'm running the clock out. It gets overwhelming. Hot buttons for me are when my kids are doing poorly in school. I believe that education is very important, and my kids have access to an online tutor, a school tutor, and I will stop doing whatever I'm doing to help them if they ask for it. So when I don't see them studying, they haven't asked me for help, and they're doing poor in school, I tend to get upset. This could be a result of the higher logical mathematical intelligence and the multiple intelligence scale. I try to look at everything logically, and not using the tools that you have to achieve success is not logical. I also like things to be neat and clean, and I get upset when they're not. The best way to respond to these stresses with emotional intelligence is to identify when I'm stressed, identify my response to that stress, and find techniques that have helped me in the past to get past the stress. Gardner's theory of multiple intelligence includes linguistic, logical, mathematical, visual, spatial, interpersonal, musical, body kinesthetic, and naturalistic. I scored highest in the logical, mathematical, interpersonal, naturalistic. All 3 of these intelligence suggest a career in the sciences, which could explain my interest in psychology. According to the definition of efficacy, I would contribute my success in online learning to my desire to gain knowledge. I often find myself wondering about many different things. I have a strong desire to succeed. I want to show my children that even though I work full-time and I have a busy schedule, I can do well by working hard, and that means that they should be able to do the same. I also try to manage my time in such a way that I have at least 3 hours a day to work on homework and do the required reading. And lastly, I'm committed to getting my bachelor's degree and succeeding in graduate school. My first memory of a tragedy was being in the 2nd grade in 1986. We'd gone to the library at school to watch the shuttle launch, but instead we watched the shuttle explode. The school offered counselors for those affected emotionally and by the tragedy, and encouraged us to speak out about how the event made us feel. It was common for us to watch the shuttle launches, but this time it was extra special because there was actually a teacher on board. My first memory of a success came when I was in the 3rd grade and I took part in the Idic Ride-A-Bike, which I raised money for the mentally disabled. I got people to sponsor a certain dollar amount for every mile that I rode, and I was able to complete the full 22-mile course being only 8 years old. These memories could be classified as episodic memories because they are long-term memories of personal experiences, dates, places, and events. References.